I, 28, my brother, 26, and our half-brother, 20, used to go on an annual trip with our dad. Since my dad had a serious health complication 3 years ago, it turned into a brother's trip. We used to invite SB years ago, but he never wanted to go. Stepbrother, 28, is our youngest brother's half-brother. We do not get along at all. Our dad married his mom when I was 8. My mother had been dead for 6 years by then. But his parents have been divorced for 4 years. His dad was very wealthy and determined to drive a wedge between us. There was also a good dose of parental alienation, but since mom, stepmom, and dad couldn't afford to fight him in court, they did their best to keep the peace. He refused to be respectful towards my dad, rubbed his expensive toys in our faces, which now seems not a big deal, but then was very hurtful, etc. I guess the point where we completely wrote him off was when we were 16. He had a car and never allowed us in it. It was raining heavily and he refused to drive us to school. Then he drove by us while we were walking and kept insulting dad. For our youngest brother, SB hated him the moment he was born, used to bully him if we didn't keep an eye on him. There was an incident that ended with the youngest needing medical help. And he hated his older brother since then. A couple of years ago SB came out as gay. His father disowned him. Mom and dad did the decent thing and supported him. We also said that we accepted him, but that was that. Last week we went on our trip as usual. Then last Sunday we were having a family dinner and SB was there. We showed our parents the photos we took and shared some stories. SB excused himself halfway through, but we thought nothing of it. Later mom told us that he broke down in the kitchen, saying that he felt excluded and wished we had invited him. I just hummed, but the youngest told mom point blank that it was a trip for us brothers. He didn't qualify. She didn't insist or anything, but she seemed down. Now I am feeling a bit guilty. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This is a bed he made, and now he can sleep in it. I guess the only thing I'd say is you describe him as doing a lot of awful things as a younger person. Has he outgrown any of that? Forgiveness is the choice of the offended, but a grudge is a heavy weight to carry. If he isn't such a bad person now, maybe it's time for bygones. Or not. That's up to you. Not the idiot. This is what happens when you are the idiot to people, but get mad when they don't want to hang out with you. He can't have it both ways. You're all old enough individually at this point to come to a decision if you want a friendship, brother relationship with him or not. He has to live with the consequences of his actions. If he wants to genuinely have a relationship, it's up to him to respectfully mend those fences, but firstly respect boundaries. But it doesn't start off with going on a camping trip. That would be too much for everyone. Not the idiot. He was a bully to you older brothers, but an abuser to your younger brother. He's feeling left out because he used to have a lot of nice things, but now his daddy isn't bankrolling him anymore. This isn't about him becoming a decent individual and somehow expecting you all to forget the past, which you shouldn't. It's about him wanting something. You have nothing to feel guilty about. He chose when he was old enough to have the smallest amount of a conscience to treat you guys wrong. He isn't your brother. Me, 27, and my husband Seth, 30, have been together for over 5 years. Last week, Seth had to travel out of state to attend his sister's wedding. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend due to work-related issues. Seth was gone for a whole week, and of course, I missed him terribly. Seth and I don't get much quality time together due to our stressful work schedules. I was still happy that he got to spend some relaxing time with his family. Yesterday, Seth and I finally got the opportunity to spend a day off together. We decided to go for a cruise downtown in our new car and then go out to eat at our favorite restaurant. Seth posted about our date night plans on social media. The day started off very well, until we got to the restaurant. As soon as we got to the parking lot, we see Maya Miel, 51, standing near the entrance. She bolted towards us and gave Seth and I a big hug. She said that she saw our plans on social media and decided to join us. I was already very upset, but I bit my tongue because I didn't want to make a scene in public. I just tried my best to hide the fact that I was not having a good time during dinner. After dinner was over, We all headed out to the parking lot and I said goodbye to my MIL. My MIL said that she would join us back at our place to have some drinks. After she kept insisting that she join us at our house, I finally snapped at her. I said, "Look, I want to spend some alone time with my husband. We almost never get to be alone together. You just spent a week-long luxury vacation with him, while I was stuck at home alone. You already ruined our date by barging in our dinner plans. Just get lost." My MIL looked horrified. She started crying and Power walked back to her car. Seth was stunned and started scolding me about how cruel I was to his mother. He said that I should have just expressed to him how I was feeling, instead making his mother feel unwanted. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. Your MIL was definitely out of line to invite herself, and your husband should have recognized her behavior was inappropriate and addressed it. But he's also right that you could have handled the situation a lot better. Since you said you saw her as soon as you got to the parking lot, you could have spoken to your husband about how to handle this before leaving your car. One of you could have headed the whole thing off at the pass with something like, "Hey, this was really intended to be a date night since we haven't had a chance for any alone time recently. But we can definitely make plans to get dinner together some other time." Not the idiot, but that's probably overly charitable. I'm a bit mixed. I think you had a lot to express, but then in fairness to you, when in the actual hell were you going to get a chance to express it if she doesn't give you even a single dinner? Sounds like you lost your crap, and that's never a good look. At some point your husband should have felt some of this on his own. How much of a mama's boy is he usually? Also, maybe don't put all your business on social media. Everyone's the idiot here. MIL for barging in on your date after she had just spent a whole week with D. You for telling her to get lost. You could have said, "Mill, I haven't seen my husband in a week and we wanted to have a romantic night. Surely you can understand." Your husband also is an idiot for not immediately, upon seeing his mother at the restaurant, telling her mom, "I just spent a week with you and I want to spend the evening with my wife. Why would you invite yourself on our date?" A few weeks ago my mother-in-law's air conditioner died. It had stopped cooling for a while and it was just time. I got one for my brother-in-law to take some measurements. The old unit was undersized and I wanted to get something that would cool the downstairs but still fit in a window. I get the details and I place my order. Now, there are 4 contractors in that home and at least 6 window AC units. I talked to everyone and they didn't mind helping setting it up. Take it out of the box, attach brackets, mount it, remove packing, etc. Flash forward 2 weeks. Unit arrives. It's a high-end unit, wasn't cheap and should last. A day goes by after setup and I get a call. The unit is leaking into the living room. I tell them shut it off. I'll look at it when I get there. I arrive and unit is tipped forward. I also noticed the brackets weren't attached. The foam wasn't added or looked like it was just shoved in the window. I ask where's all the stuff? And I get told it didn't come with anything. Really? It was new it box. I leave. Few days go by and I stop by and see there's brackets on it now, but it's leaking again. Turns out they never removed the drain plug. Today, I got a call that it was frozen. I ask did anyone read the manual? I get told it's missing. I arrive after my shift and I'm told it's a piece of crap. They hand me the box. In the box I find the manual and in the troubleshooting section there's a part about it freezing up. I read it aloud. If the unit freezes up it's potentially from the thermostat being set too low. I turn the unit on and the thermostat is set to 60. I raise it to 70 and the unit blows cold air. I told them at this point if they are still having issues I'll take it back and return it. I was asked what will we do for cooling and I said you'll have to figure that out. Am I an idiot? Wife thinks I am. Not the idiot. So let me get this straight. There are 5 adults in that house. 4 of them are supposed to be contractors. What exactly are they contracted to do? And out of the 4 contractors, how many of them went to school and graduated? Can they read and understand the English language? They are acting way too helpless for that kind of BS that they are pulling. And OP, you may want to think twice about having any of them come over to help you out around your home with anything. The way they are going, they are more likely to cause more damage than fix anything. It is an odd situation, and from the information you have provided it seems they were ungrateful as they did not take the time to read through the manual, so make sure it would be installed correctly. Even if the manual was not included in the box, the fact no one took 10 seconds to open Google and find the info needed for that specific make and model is really odd. Ungrateful and careless because they did not pay for it. In the future, don't go out of your way like that again until you see effort on their part. Saying they will make the effort is very different, unfortunately. You were trying to do a nice thing, and it's kinda sad that 4 contractors couldn't figure it out. On a side note, you may not have had to remove the drain plug if the unit is installed in the window correctly. A lot of these modern units splash the condensation on the condenser coils to A, evaporate the water, which leads to B, causing AC to run more efficiently. The units I've got as a band-aid until I replace my heat pump. All-state drainage is generally only needed if you have excessive humidity in your house, and that's from 3 different manufacturers. I am the marketing coordinator of a known airline in my country. We get tons of sponsorship requests which equate to free event tickets and invites to the best gala balls and formal events. There is, unfortunately, a hierarchy system depending on the events. Formal ones, like black tie or anything that would equate to really expensive tickets, go for expressions of interest to the executive leadership, then to management. Before my time in the office, it rarely cascades down to general staff even when no one in exec or management can attend. I have fought hard on this with the CEO, and he basically has given me the rights on distributing these complimentary tickets and invitation to whom I deem fit. I always try for general staff to get a good chunk of these tickets as it really drives morale, and I have been receiving a lot of feedback that it makes them proud to represent the company in community events. So any public event that costs less than $50 a pop goes to immediate all staff. Don't care if you're leadership or general. Who reserves first gets the ticket. I've even opened up some events to include plus ones. The recent invitations involve tickets to basketball games, golf championships, 45 racing days, tasting menu events, the whole lot. However, we do have very select formal events that I have not opened up to everybody, as the crowd is usually the cream of the crop of society, so to speak. These involves decision makers, politicians, and key figures. I do open up the tickets sometimes to the rest of my team, as we are all involved in sales, so any networking opportunities are great even to junior staff. Now here comes the issue. We have a newish receptionist that always makes it a point to tell me that she loves formal events. There is an event recently that has a $300 ticket value, and the receptionist found out that nobody came from the company, meaning there were free tickets floating around that she could have gotten. She was very aggressive when she approached me and said I look down on people, not fair, and gives preferential treatment to my teammates, then left before I can explain my side. She wrote a scathing email to my general manager and CC'd in the CEO about the issue. I got called in to have a chat and was advised to change the process. I'm now supposed to send expressions of interest to every single event that does not get filled, even the very formal events, and send the list to the CEO for him to decide who gets to go. Then go back to each person and advise why they can or cannot. This is very frustrating as it adds a lot to my work, as the process is tedious enough in terms of juggling guest lists, following up, and tracking on top of everything I have to do. Am I the idiot and should not have been that selective on who gets to go? Seriously, a newish receptionist should not be representing the company at formal events. This is a recipe for disaster. The fact that she also got aggressive speaks of entitlement as well. Well, under the new terms, let it be free for all. Just place the blame when it all comes crashing down exactly where it belongs, on the entitled demanding to represent the company when they shouldn't be. You are the idiot. She is not a lesser human being simply because she holds a different job from you, and there is no reason why this type of event should be reserved for company bigwigs. It's not as if corporate policy making is likely to go on at them. You just wanted to reinforce the sense of hierarchy, that some people were better than other people and therefore should get more and better perks. Your boss was correct to shut that crap down. Not the idiot for sure. Like you said, she's new. I would want to have someone well invested and versed in the company ages before sending them to events of significance. She should know her place as a newcomer and be grateful when events are available at all instead of having an attitude about it. Honestly, I'd fire her over how she handled the situation if I could. Definitely not professional nor acceptable behavior in a work setting. I definitely applaud you on your system up until now. Matching people with appropriate events takes some even-minded judgment, especially if you don't let it affect your interactions with them. So my father is turning 75. I decided to throw him a surprise party. I have two brothers. One is comfortable and the other is a millionaire that lives out of state about 8 to 9 hours away. For some reason I'm responsible for all gifts for our parents from my millionaire brother. He tells me the amount and I order. He PayPals me. My comfortable brother tells me we should invite a few people I hadn't thought of, which are more of his friends, but my dad does know. I text everyone and say, am I throwing this party or is this from all of us? My millionaire brother's wife texted that they would pay for their crew, brother, SIL, 5 kids, and nanny. I roll my eyes because they are notoriously cheap. Like had a birthday party with 25 kids, bought a large pizza and cut each slice into halves. Not every kid got a slice. And certainly no adult ate. So my brother calls me and asks me to change the day from Sunday to Saturday so he can bring everyone from out of state, or else it would be just him. I say, I can't, as everywhere is booked for that Saturday and this place is $10 cheaper per person than the only other possible venue. He then said, I don't understand. If it's more expensive, are you afraid people won't come? I realize he expects people to pay to attend our father's surprise party. I say, absolutely not. That's crass and tactless to have someone paid to attend a party you are inviting them to. He mumbles something and we say our goodbyes. Apparently he called our 73-year-old mother and said I called him tacky. She told him he absolutely was being disgusting and tacky. He then said that he felt attacked and we were being idiots. I don't think I'm an idiot, but maybe it's common for people in his circle to charge. He's lived in the southern US, but the South is known for southern hospitality, so it's not a cultural thing. Maybe I am an idiot for calling him tacky. Not the idiot. Parties shouldn't have an entry fee, and if he can afford 5 kids and a nanny, he's not strapped for cash. His financial priorities are simply skewed towards preserving his fortune and the cost of being a decent person. That his response to an accurate description of himself was to call your mother doesn't speak well to his character or his ability to take criticism. This is an example of how rich people stay rich. The $1,000 bottles of whiskey are probably saved for schmoozing people who will get him more money. Charge people for the privilege of coming to their home or attending an event with them. A friend of a friend comes from a rich family. The thing they lacked most growing up was actual food in the house. Money was only spent on food when it was needed for appearances. It's not that he is cheap. You said in a comment he will buy a $1,000 bottle of whiskey. He just doesn't want to spend any of his money on anyone but himself. He's selfish to the point of being tacky and a horrible host. I feel bad for his kids' cause after a party like that. They probably didn't get invited to any of their friends' parties and probably no longer have 25 kids show up to their parties.